I am very glad that the brass rats are where they should be, and the Turkoman ring on the villain is really, really nice. Just thought I'd let you know that somebody noticed.
There it is, the 1% of the audience that actually pays attention to all the little things we put in there, because it was a Marvel movie, and we figured I've been reading all the websites for years about organic web shooters or people getting mad about this or that, and we figured we really would go with the extra distance, and it seems to have paid off, and the general audience likes it too, and there's more fun stuff we set up. Good, thank you for that. Yes?
So, for those of us who haven't started doing things, you made a really good movie, I think we can all agree on that, and a lot of what you said was we were fighting to get this done, we were fighting to keep the dialogue in, and what's the best way to fight for that?
I'd say the best way to
take it from him, he's the best I've ever seen.
She said that I mentioned that you fight. There are a lot of things I fought for, like keeping dialogue in, casting Robert, things like that. And the trick is, like with any other politics, you go in, and the first thing you say is, "I'll do anything I can to get an opportunity to do what I want to do, and I will compromise anything." Then you read The Fountainhead, and you say, "I will compromise on nothing." And then, like at the end of Lawrence of Arabia, then what they said is a line to the effect of, "The young men do all the dying, and then the old men come in and make the peace." And now I'm on the back nine of my life and my career, and the fun half, as I like to call it. If anybody over 40 knows what I'm talking about, it is the fun half. When you have your kids and you know who you are, and you start to realize that life and people are very predictable and work in cycles, and there's an unpredictability that you also learn to deal with, and it becomes about patience, and it becomes about priorities, and it becomes about understanding what people really need, and what they say they need are not necessarily different, they're the same thing. Usually in Hollywood especially, but in life in general, most people are motivated by negative things like fear, or anger, or resentment, and knowing how to diffuse those things and address the core issue of what people are really dealing with is usually the best way to achieve a compromise that everybody comes out happy with. It's not like I snuck this by them and they're like, "Damn, he got us." If I was sitting here with Marvel, we wouldn't be having the same conversation. I would say it in front of them. We ended up with something that was successful. We had been hearing about the Dark Knight Knight's gonna kick ass, the Dark Knight's this, the Dark Knight's that, and here's the same thing. And we came out, we made $300 million, and we had like 92% good reviews, and we had all this stuff, and we're like, we showed them. And then of course, a month later, they got like 98% good reviews, made $500 million. And once again, we are at underdog status, which is, I think, where we like to be. And I think they did a hell of a job. We made a very different movie. But the fact of the matter is, we were an underdog all the way through, and through knowing how to pick the proper battles and do the proper things, we ended up with something that we're very happy with, has a tone that's reflective of my body of work too, which makes me proud that I didn't nuke the fridge on this one.
How far along is the next one? What can we hope and expect?
Well, we got, Robert introduced us to a great writer who's working on it now. Will you talk a little about it?
Justin Theroux, who wrote Trouble Thunder. And basically, without giving much away, it's really more of a beneath the armor, kind of what he has to do. When you say you're Iron Man, people step up to the plate and want to challenge that. So I think it's about spinning a lot of different plates, and a lot of it has to do with his inside game. But to also answer your question further, man, ultimately, it's about picking the right partnerships when you can, because therein lies that you find you have the same ideals, hopefully, and you also get to bounce things off each other. There's something happens as a result of the two of you working together that wouldn't have happened if it had been alone. So it is a marriage of sorts, But the idea that Tony's inner game is what really leads him back to some information about his legacy that he's going to need to survive, also as the trouble surmounts. Because we know that historically, you know, a follow-up movie tends to rest on its laurels a little bit, and so we feel like we want to go deeper and be even more ambitious next time.
Kind of going off of what you said about a sequel, and what she said about her property and dialogue. The charm of the movie is that it's so human and relatable, but it blends with like the fantastic, you know, Iron Man and superheroes. In the sequel, are you gonna try to marry that a little better with like referencing Mandarin, but then tackling Stark's drinking? Is Big Bang Boom gonna be in it?
Yeah, look, I'd love to get to a point where you have him fighting a huge dragon, and maybe we'll get to that point where that's acceptable.
That would tie in nicely with the drinking, I bet. I bet.
Yeah, we're gonna keep circling the Mandarin. You know, the thing is, you lay it all out too much, and you got to look at the long game and figure out what. You don't want to lose the main audience along with the people who are the fans if you chase the books too hard. So it's a balancing act, but I think our biggest thing that I don't want to lose is the relationships, the humor, the emotional stakes that are at work here. And in the origin story, it's always very easy to have the rise of the hero story arc, which has a nice progression to it, and then oftentimes it just clicks into serialized mode where you're just seeing a guy, an unchanging hero dealing with progressively more difficult enemies. So the trick is, how do you find the arc within that thing, and that's how, that's the big challenge on the second one.
We've had the most mind-bending story meetings you can imagine. So just trust that we are putting forward every effort at great expense to one another's sleep and safety of psyche.
Right here.
Thanks. First of all, I'd like to thank you for fighting to keep production in California. You tell us a little bit.
I'm working with the governor now, trying to get a tax break, because there are. I'm not too optimistic, unfortunately, about it. There's a lot of politics at play here that make the politics in the entertainment world look like nothing, look like preschool. Because you have a lot of different interests and it's all on the public stage, but a couple percentage points would make it cost effective to fight off the 35 and 40% that other states are offering. But I mean, it is a vacuum right now with production leaving California. But fortunately, there are a few directors like myself, J.J. Abrams, I think Spielberg has it as well, that they want to shoot here, but it takes 800-pound gorillas to do it, and if this movie didn't work out well, I would be working in television probably, because I can't leave for 6 months, and it just would ruin all the wonderful things that I built in my life. So fortunately, through the success of this, we'll be doing the next one here as well.